Hey guys, welcome to Happy Hour. It's Tuesday night, Taco Tuesday, 2 for Tuesday, however we're going to do it. How's it going, Alex? How's it going, Steve?
It's good. I forgot it was Taco Tuesday, but I did go to a taco truck earlier and I got a burrito. So
It was like inherent in you. You knew you were being driven to, the source of tacos.
Taco Zone, it's called.
Yeah,
The truck is called the Taco Zone. So I went to the Taco Zone, but I got a burrito.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's kind of the same thing, just not, it's all in the tortilla, really, right?
Same meats. I mean, like it was, I could have gotten those meats in a taco, and I got them in a burrito, which just with outdoor dining is reopening in California, but not till Friday. So
Yeah.
I still had to be eaten. I was on the go, so we ate it in the car. Like, we were like, oh, let's grab dinner. It was like, well, we could get tacos and have eat. Let's park and eat. So burritos seem better. So yeah.
Right. What about you, Cofield? Did you do tacos for Taco Tuesday?
Well, I'll ask you first. Did you rock a taco today?
I did not rock a taco. You know what I did? My friend brought over like that huge jar of Tostitos nacho cheese. And yesterday I freaking mouthed like that whole thing. Like 80% of that jar of cheese I ate. So all day today I wanted to throw up and have no desire for any Mexican food this Taco Tuesday. Zero at all. That's where I was at.
I will smash a taco as soon as I get off of this podcast. Earlier tonight, I finished off 2-day-old soggy chicken salad, and I had some gumbo. So
something about old chicken salad like that. I'm not a picky eater. Like I will eat anything. Like I will literally eat almost anything. Something about old. It's not even with. I'll eat like questionable. I know this is weird. Tuna salad, but like something about chicken salad like fucks me up. I don't like not. I just something about it. I don't like it.
There's a bar here in town, and they do. I don't want to call them out. But I love their tuna melt, but every time I eat it, I'm sick. And then I'll complain about it and be like, that one got me sick. And they'll be like, here, let us give you a new one for free. And I'm like, totally. And I'll eat that shit. I don't feel sick. And I don't care because it's bomb. They make an awesome tuna salad, but I'm not going to shout them out because they'll make you sick.
Yeah, there's a place.
Carvelli, we're going to talk about this actually. So, Alex, I noticed today on the tweets that John Carvelli himself actually brought it up that our show doesn't have a name. So I kind of had an idea that, we're in college basketball season. Maybe we could use the chat. I've got a whiteboard here and a marker somewhere and get some ideas for names for our show. Maybe we could bracket out our top ones. And as a consensus, our chat could name the show. What do you guys think about that, chat? I like crushing tacos. I mean, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm down with that all across the board.
Right, yeah. If and or up. So, okay, so you guys in the chat, think about that as we're going on. I wanted to tell you something, Alex. You're not out here in Vegas, but if you were, you would know that it snowed today, man. Like it snowed in Las Vegas. Now, not on my side of town because I'm an East Sider, but these snowballs were huge, the snowmen they were building. Insanity.
Well, I'm here in Los Angeles. I'm just checking my weather app to be sure. We're getting some serious rainfall this week. In fact, I saw one weather. It's not going to snow here. Maybe at higher elevations. I mean, it will snow. Yes, it will snow at higher elevations in California. But LA is not going to get snow. But I heard on Saturday, Sunday, we were getting some hail. And I heard we're about to get 2 years worth of rain in the next couple days. So that's probably going to flood, just because we're not used to it. But that's cool. Like, I'm down for a couple rainy days.
Yeah. Oh, I feel you. It's been rainy here. Even though I'm not getting the snow, it's like almost freezing cold rain. Because if it was freezing cold rain, it'd be snow in my house. But no, it's almost freezing cold rain. So I did hear there's some stuff going on in your neck of the woods. Maybe not snow, but some other interesting outdoor activities. What's happening in California right now?
Well, as of yesterday, it's announced that all of California can have outdoor dining reopen. Now, some places already have had it back, but particularly like LA County can have outdoor dining and other associated, like you can go to the zoo. For you gamblers, you can go to card rooms and pool halls are allowed to operate at 50% capacity. I'm not first in line to head to the casino in Commerce, but I am. The main story, the big story is that outdoor dining, which has been like truly shut down in LA County. Like you are hard pressed to find anywhere. Like, I mean, you can't dine outdoors here. OC, there's about 50, they call themselves like the Bipartisan Coalition of Restaurateurs or something. And they like took a stand and they're like, we're staying open. So OC, you've actually been able to still dine, but LA County has been shut. That's changing on Friday. I live across the street from a German beer hall of sorts with a huge outdoor Oktoberfest patio. Now it's supposed to pour rain on Friday, so maybe they'll push it back. But I'm just a few days away from being able to go. And for the first time since I moved to LA about a month and a half ago, go and dine outdoors if I want, which is people are mixed on it. People are mixed on it, you know?
I was going to ask you, yeah. So like, are you, like when the bars reopened here, I was like, well, that's great, but I don't want to go to one. Now, granted, that was a really long time ago. Like,
yeah,
change. So how do you feel about it?
Well, I'm not going to be rushing to go, but I bet I will go in the next couple weeks. But I'm not rushing. It's going to be pouring rain. The mixed feelings are like LA County's ICU capacity is really low. I believe it's very close to 0%. Like there's no ICU bed. So from that perspective, it's like, okay, wait, why are we reopening on Friday? On the flip side, though, not to go full conservative talk show radio host, but I kind of do think that people should have I see restaurants closing. I see local businesses going out of business. So I think if they want to open up, they should be allowed to for outdoor dining. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'm not going to be rushing, but I like having the option.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of places have proven that like you can have dining. Like we found ways around dining. It's cool. I keep seeing on the news that school is coming back. Like all the info is in and we can have school back next season for all the kids that have been out of it and homeschooling, which I'm thrilled about. So yeah, definitely feels like it's getting better out there. Oh, that's a cute one. Taco Tuesday. So speaking of LA, that was a cute one. Yeah. I'm writing these down, gentlemen. I'm a stat girl, remember? So speaking of LA, kind of a sad day for LAers and I guess the whole worldwide. You guys know I wasn't like a huge Kobe fan. He wasn't really my cup of tea, but just from watching all the media, I guess, on it today, it's blatantly obvious how much he meant to so many people across the world. And Cofield had kind of brought up, do you remember where you were when you heard that Kobe died? And I totally do. Like, was he our JFK experience of our generation? Kobe dying. Do you remember where you were at?
But yeah, I do. I mean, yeah, I remember just being like stunned. Yeah. I mean, I think of all the celebrity deaths of the last 20 years, for me, Kobe's the one that struck me as being the craziest. But and it's funny too, because I've always been a Kobe hater in the sense that I grew up in Southern California as a Clippers fan. I grew up kind of hating the Black Mamba lore and mythology, and I would hate on Kobe. But I think that's part of his legacy was that there's a lot of, Kobe was a transcendent player with a huge fan base. And then there was simultaneously this huge crop of people that hated on him. Like he just, he was polarizing in some senses. So the fact, I was a hater, but that's it still affected me. Like I still was like, oh my God, I can't believe it's real. So yeah, I remember where I was. I think that was the biggest celebrity death for me in the last 20 years. And just today around LA, actually, I went on a long walk earlier and I saw a lot of people actually in Kobe gear, RIP Mamba and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was actually painting an Airstream trailer is what I was doing for a friend, a Burning Man friend, and getting her trailer. And I think for me, I'm like you, I'm on the Kobe hater side. don't want to deny what a great athlete he was and whatnot. But I really thought of my closer friends. Like on the stat crew, there's a girl named Cherish who is obsessed with Kobe. So my mind kind of like went more to those people that I knew are huge Kobe fans, and it was like going to hit them hard, It was major, though. It was definitely major, and it was sad seeing it all back again. Where were you, Cofield? What were you doing?
I was actually getting ready for a UNLV game. So UNLV basketball was playing on a Sunday. We were in the pregame show, probably 20 minutes in. John Von Tobel was hosting, and I was sitting there as he was talking. I started looking at my phone. I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, this can't be real. So
yeah, that's how I felt. Yes.
I waited until the break because TMZ, who said it here? Yeah, Brady said I saw it on TMZ before anywhere else. Yeah, that's where it broke. And I'm looking, and I'm like, okay, we're on air. Like, you can't fuck up Kobe Bryant's dead on live radio. Like, if we throw it out there and he ain't. So probably waited another 10 minutes, and then I think the LA Times was out with it. And then we went to another break, and I was like, well, it's up to you, man. Up to John. Like, should we talk about it? Should we not talk about it? And it's one of those moments where you're like, we're doing a UNLV pregame show. Like, we mostly know it's true. Like, how much are we going to get into this? So it was weird. And then actually I walked down into the arena, and I think they were playing San Diego State, UNLV, which is a gigantic game for UNLV on the home floor. There was a very small crowd, like must have been 45 minutes before the game, a very small crowd in there, maybe 3,000. But I started looking around, and I saw a lot of people just kind of sitting and staring. And I assume they either heard the news or they were looking at their phone, kind of processing what was going on. So it was weird. And, we know in Vegas, Allie knows this, and Alex knows it too. We have so many transplants from LA and so many Lakers fans. So it was weird, man. It was really weird. And then I saw one of the TV reporters, like, right. I usually do a pregame report to kind of set the scene. And I saw one of the pregame, saw one of the TV reporters kind of tearing up. And I'll be honest, when I had to do my sideline report, like I had a couple moments, I was like, shit, because I mentioned that what happened, and it was rough. Because I was also, you're also thinking about the players, like they got to go out and play a game.
Yeah.
And UNLV has a lot of Southern California kids. Their best player now, Bryce Hamilton, is a Southern California kid, and Vegas kids too. I mean, how many 18 to 22-year-olds, like that's their guy.
Yeah.
So that's where I was. I won't forget that. So, and
was that the night UNLV ruined SDSU's perfect season?
No, that was down there.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, it was down there. This one was kind of a typical UNLV San Diego State game in that UNLV lost. It's kind of a slugfest defensive battle. 5 minutes left, they're in the game. I think 2 minutes left, they were in the game, and San Diego State makes 3 good plays. UNLV can't respond with their own 3 good plays, so they lost. So, really, really weird scene. By the way, you know what I wanted to throw out there? So Kobe Bryant's dead. Is part of the story. I know, right? It's part of the story. No, I'm just. Is part of the storytelling. Does it still need to mention like I wasn't a Kobe fan? Because I noticed both of you guys did that, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I just wonder, like, at some point, do you just say like, "Yeah, it doesn't really matter"?
Go ahead.
I mean, I don't know. I think it does matter because I'm talking about it and I care about it, even though I don't really like him. I guess. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't care. I just think as a sports fan, it's important to say what side you're on, no matter who you're talking about, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I almost feel like it was a disclaimer because I was like such a hater. Like, my friends will tell you, I would talk about the Mamba mentality being a product of like the ESPN media hype machine. Like, I was really a Kobe hater. So I don't want to get out here and be like, man, like that tore me up, because like I'd be lying if I was like that tore me up. But I had close friends that are like crying, that are like taking the day off of work to go to the Kobe Memorial. Like, I'm seeing how much of a folk hero he was to people everywhere, particularly in Southern California. Not to mention he was a resident of Newport Beach, where I grew up, and the other people that were killed were like locals, were friends with my nieces. Like, my mom had taught art to like one of the like there's like all these. So I don't know, Steve, I don't know if I need to say it, anymore. Like it's a year later. I don't know if I need to bring up that I'm a hater, but I just don't want to I don't want to make it seem like I don't know. It just didn't affect me the way it affected some people. So I want to I guess if we're personalizing our story of where we were,
I agree.
That's why I mentioned it. But
I agree.
I don't still hate. I'm not still a hater. You know what I mean? I'm not in depth. I'm not I think the really one cool thing that happened when Kobe passed is you saw for a brief moment a lot of people, players, talking heads, hot take artists in sports media were like, hey, can we put the comparisons away for a minute and we could just appreciate greatness? That only lasted for a couple of days. And then the Nick Wrights and Skip Baylesses of the world got back on their hot take machine. But for a second, I was like, yeah, that is what this is about, is just appreciating greatness, whether you're a hater or not. And I hope we can all, as people in various facets of sports media, retain some of that lesson.
That's what it takes. That's what it takes. An all-time icon sports hero dying at 40 for us to be like, hey, how about no hot takes for a half an hour?
Yeah. And that's what it was. It was half an hour.
And Jim Gemma brings up a good point in the chat that it wasn't just Kobe. It was 9 people that passed away. But would all of those other people, if those 2 Bryants weren't on that helicopter, would we, it wouldn't be that big of a deal to us. It wouldn't be, so it wouldn't be such a big deal because that he was the one, that was the whole point. It was him. It wasn't what happened. It's that we lost him.
But I totally get the point that Alex was making, that it hits everyone differently. So the other part of my story was, we're doing pregame. I'm at the game. I'm getting ready to do sidelines. It wasn't really much of a decision because it's not like she's not dialed in. But my girlfriend is a gigantic Lakers fan, gigantic Kobe fan, and she was at Disneyland that day. So I was like, I'm not going to message her right now. I'm not going to ruin her day at Disneyland. But I mean, my God, it's Southern California. You don't think everyone at Disneyland knew within a half an hour or so? She knew. She had found out. But I was like, I'm not telling her. I'm not ruining her day because this will be pretty crappy. It's pretty devastating that Kobe's gone. Someone asked earlier about, and I don't want to go down this deep dark hole, but there are other iconic celebrities who've passed away, and I don't know that I remember where I was on those days. Someone asked earlier about Michael Jackson. I have no idea where I was or what I was doing.
I remember that one. I remember River Phoenix too.
That was before my time.
I was just waking up, and I had 8 roommates, and they were all a buzz about it, or maybe not 8, but it sounded like them. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, there were 6, and me was 7. So anyway, the point is, they were all a freaking buzz, and I woke up, and it was Michael Jackson died. They were all upset about it. So I definitely remember that one.
Yeah. Oh, I think the thing about Kobe too is just he was man. I mean, I know he had just retired, but he still felt like he was in his prime. He was still such a part of things. He just seemed invincible. I know everyone, that's been said and eulogized a million times, but he really did feel invincible, he was going to be part of the sports world. For me at my age, I just turned 30. I feel like he was always part of the sports world for my whole life, and I felt like he always was going to be. And so I think, you said, Cofield, college hoopers and young NBA players, it was the same thing. But I think, I hope the lesson is that we can I hope we do appreciate greatness in its prime, and we just appreciate the legends that we get to watch currently in sports. And just, I hope we just appreciate people in general. I know, it takes an all-time great sports folk hero to die at age 40 for us to recognize that. But I do hope that that's a good thing that comes out of it.
I have a funny one about Princess Diana. Truth from Duluth brought it up. So Princess Diana, I had a job modeling at the Forum Shops in Caesar's Palace, and you would be a mannequin in a window, live mannequins, and these 2 little British ladies walk up to each other, and there's glass between us because I'm in the window, but I can hear them, and one of them just, and she's died, and I can't believe it, and then their husbands walk up, and they're all it's this whole thing about finding out that Princess Diana is dead, and I have to stay still. I'm just freaking out. Mannequin person. I could not wait to get out of the, for my shift to be up so I could go and gossip and find out what went on and tell everyone that I knew that this happened. But it was kind of a funny one with Princess Di. But I definitely remember where I was on that one. With MJ.
Yeah,
Michael
I
Jordan.
think MJ.
Yeah, I know.
Michael
I
Jackson.
remember where I was when Michael Jordan retired. That was another one.
I think it was Michael Jackson. No idea, Michael Jackson.
Oh,
Really.
Sorry. Sometimes my blonde hair gets in my own way. I swear.
If Michael Jordan like died this year, I would remember where I was.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's kind of dark. We don't need to go down the hole, but we
right.
don't need to go down that hole. We don't need to go down that hole.
Back up again. Should we perk it back up? I kind of feel like we
Which
should.
celebrity would you remember the most if they died tomorrow? No, we don't need to play that game. We don't need to put anybody in the grave here tonight.
It was the Express store, John. The Express store, I think, or the Limited. No, I think it was Express. Yeah. Okay, so what I have so far for our potential show names, okay? We're not going to vote right now. I'm going to keep them going. I'm going to remind you guys to get your brains rolling for us here. Alex and I need a show name for this podcast. We're giving it to you guys. So we have Crushin' Tacos, the A-Team, Scoregasm, which I gotta admit, I kind of like. That's kind of funny. Taco Tuesday. I kind of like AA meeting. That's what we're doing here, right? So y'all just keep them coming. Keep them coming. Speaking of sports and ranking things, I don't know if you saw this, Alex, but I got ranked in a little, it was like a Capper review poll or article that they did, and they ranked the top 5 hottest female handicappers on the internet in 2021.
I love that.
Maybe we could edit that title for round 2. But I got number 3. So I was pretty excited about that. And when I noticed it was like 2:00 in the morning. I was like just kind of going to bed and like, just going through Twitter, and I saw it and I was flattered and stoked and shared it. But then the next day when I logged on, I realized that, thanks Connor, that it was Kelly in Vegas, Minty Betts, me, over and under girl, and Chelsea Messenger. And Chelsea also works at Picks and Parlays. And Chelsea had written back to Capper Review, was who wrote the article. Like at the beginning of the article, they have this disclaimer where, granted, Steve, do you have a picture we could pull up? So they do this little disclaimer where it's saying that in no way would we ever, want to make this about actual hotness. 2021, and here at Capper's Review, we wouldn't even dream of objectifying or exploiting women based on their appearance. So when we talk about hot female handicappers, we want to assure you we're only talking about their brains kind of things, right? But then that they use, like the thumbnail for this, is a chick in a bikini holding a football, right? So there's
Hell
that.
Yeah.
So Chelsea Messenger then writes back. And again, it was 2 a.m. So I wasn't immediately offended by this, or I didn't like take any offense or even like really think about it. Yeah, Chelsea's fine. If it was based on what we look like, Chelsea would have been number 1 on that list for sure. But so Chelsea writes and says, what did she say? That I'm going to be honest, I'm torn, I'm flattered, and thank you, but saying we wouldn't dream of objectifying or exploiting women and then using a bikini picture of someone with their face cropped out is just a little contradictory. They say the, photo got cropped for whatever reason. Chelsea then says, not really the worst part. It's a picture of one of the women. The picture is not even of one of the women that is in the article. I think you didn't mean to degrade us, but my initial reaction was disappointed. So then they write back, the photo is of Lisa Ann, a former adult film star who was into DFS. We'd originally intended on featuring her in the article, but it looks like she's taken a sabbatical. So, I mean, I don't know, like how this was kind of one of those moments where I was like we were talking last week about the dick pics and like how you're supposed to feel some certain type of way about being a chick and whatnot. Am I supposed to feel some certain type of way about this? I mean, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about this, Alex?
I mean, first of all, I feel like this is like a funny little corner of the like daily cat. They're ranked like this is a funny that they put this out is just like kind of bizarre in the year 2021. Like hot with that, like it's clear what they're doing.
Yeah.
It just feels very like internet circa 15 years ago. You know what I mean? Like hottest chicks picking sports things. You're like, okay, like we don't, people don't, are we still doing that? But then they tried to be like, oh, we're not objectifying the women. By the way, here's an adult film actress holding a football for like, it's clear what they did. But in terms of how you're supposed to feel, Allie, I don't know. I really am the wrong person to ask because as a dude who's not super used to being objectified, I would be stoked. I'd be stoked to make this list one way or the other. But I'm not a woman who gets objectified on a daily basis. So I can't tell you how to feel. I have not walked a mile in your moccasins. But I would, I would be stoked either way. I'd be stoked if they were like, if it was like sexiest dudes on radio, fuck yeah, I'd be stoked. But if they were also like hottest up and comers and it was a ripped dude, like from the neck down, I'm like, maybe someone thinks that's me. That's cool. Fine. But I can't tell you how to feel. I can't tell you how to feel.
Well, Steve can. Maybe Steve can mansplain to me how I'm supposed to feel about this because he's so good at it.
Mansplain.
I was not immediately offended by it at all. And I took it as kind of like I didn't take it seriously. Like this is the LA Times saying this. I took it as kind of a lighthearted shout out to chicks who are doing it kind of a thing. But at the same time, once Chelsea brought it up, I was like, yeah, that is kind of jacked up, I guess. And they should have used one of our pictures or all 5 of our pictures or just, maybe not someone in a bikini or just leave the disclaimer out. Maybe that's it. If they just would have left the disclaimer out, then it wouldn't have been contradictory of anything. What do you think, Steve? How should I feel? Mansplain it. I don't understand.
Clickbait. That's all it was.
It was what?
Clickbait. That's it.
That's just it.
And
Yeah.
and when they answered, they were just being sarcastic. So you guys took the bait.
Well, fair enough.
Sorry to be Debbie Downer on it, but that's why they did it. They wanted clicks. They actually got some attention from you guys. We're talking about it. I didn't look at their Twitter account. I'm guessing they have less than 300 followers. Well, how many followers? It's gambling, so they should have some. Anyone look it up? It's Capper Reviews. So now I'm giving them a free pop there with their name. Let's see. Looking at the total, they have 5,100. So they're here in Vegas. But you basically just gave them a little bit of attention. And clickbait, obviously, in the first place was just putting potentially being able to look at chicks in bikinis. So there you go.
All right. Well, it wasn't. I'm number 3, so I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean,
if I should be offended or not, I wasn't. I just wanted. It just kind of was one of those things that. Well, and I wanted to give myself the promo, just let you guys know.
Hey, I'm top 3 hottest. I'm top 3. Like I rep it, even if it is clickbait. And I know last week I said, Allie, you should take a stand against dick pics here. But this week I'm like, yo, somebody clickbait me. I want to get ranked. I want to be objectified on the internet. That's but that's now the pendulum swinging back in my takes.
Can I give you another angle on this when you're ready?
Sure.
This is a thorny one, and I don't bring it up on the air because I think people are going to take it the wrong way. As females fight for more respect in the media, but they also realize that if they put up somewhat glamour shots of makeup and maybe tits out, legs out, that they're going to get attention. It's sort of a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Well, I often wonder that because of course now I know what some of those girls look like, but a couple of them I didn't. And so then I want to click and see how they're all rolling. And like, when I do my free pick videos, I'm like in a flan. I mean, you saw my thumbnails, Alex. Like, so then I get insecure. Like, should I be all glammed up? Like on Tuesdays, I do my free pick videos for picks and parlays handicappers. So I do my eyelashes and my nails to look presentable. But when I'm representing myself, I'm much more like low key. I like to be your friendly neighborhood handicapper. I'm not a glam girl. But does that work against me or does it work for me is what I kind of wonder sometimes.
Alex?
I want to be approachable.
Well, yeah, I think this is I was literally having this discussion
Very dicey.
with my friend the other day about women in sports media, and actually my friend, he was talking about, is a guy I co-host actually Sports Sunday with, the sports show I do on Sundays, aptly named, on 1015 KOCI radio, and he's Black and a former athlete. So we were talking about the potential for people like him to get hired, either one, because of their race, or two, just because of the title they hold in sports media. And then we were kind of comparing that to women getting hired in sports media, potentially just because of their looks, if they're in an on-camera position. But then we were talking about someone like Amina Kimes, who is actually a well-versed football analyst who knows what she's talking about. Or if we're talking about someone like you, Allie, like you are making picks and parlays, like you know what the fuck you're talking about when it comes to sports betting. So to answer your question, I don't have an answer. It's interesting because it is a double-edged sword, like Steve said. And I don't know. I don't have an answer, really. It's just something that's been on my mind. And it got spurred on my discussion with my friend, my co-host, the other day, because we were talking about the dick pic thing. And we were talking about, I think a lot of women would have had a different take than you last week, Allie. But and a lot of women potentially, see, here I am, man. A lot of women would say this. But I do think a lot of women would say, no, like, we want to get this job because we're qualified. We don't want to get it because of our looks. But I still think there's a few that would say, well, shit, if I get my foot in the door because of my looks, like, fuck it, I'm going to take that. I'll change the system from the inside. Again, I'm a white male sitting here trying to explain how a woman in sports media or a minority, a person of color might feel. I'm not qualified to do that. But I do think it's an interesting discussion, like what you brought up, Steve. It's a double-edged sword when you talk about women don't want to get hired just because their looks, or just get put on TV because they're a pretty face. But should that preclude them from posting glamour shots? Like, no, it shouldn't preclude them from that. It's sticky.
Yeah. I guess it's just what you want to put out there too. You know, how do you want to be represented? I don't know. I had something better to say. Then I got into what you were saying, and I forgot what my point was going to be there. That in my industry, there's kind of a difference, because I know of girl handicappers that get fed picks, you know. So it's one thing if you're a girl who can recite whatever your boyfriend or your producer or whatever says to say on who to pick for a game. It's another thing when you're someone who like does handicapping and works it all out. And like, I am here because of my picks. And not because of how I look. I don't think I'm that hot either. So there's that. I have good days and bad days, but I think men use their looks to get advantages as well. I mean, it's not like John Stamos is a super great actor or anything, you know. Like, let's get real here. So I think it kind of goes both ways. Women are just kind of pinpointed more for it than anything, would be what I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely a society that favors hot people. Like, no matter what, like, good-looking people have a leg up, men and women. That's for sure. Women are definitely objectified more than men.
Yeah, I can live with that.
And I think that to answer Brady's question, if I got ranked number 3 in biggest dicks in sports talk radio, I mean, that'd be great. That'd be great for my brand.
What did you say about dick pics? Chicks ask me for dick pics. That could be your tagline.
No, what I was saying, I've never sent an unsolicited one, is what I'm saying. I've never sent an unsolicited dick pic. I'm not saying I'm getting hit up frequently. I'm just saying when I send them, I'm being requested.
60% of the time, it works out.
Exactly.
Oh, thank you, Marcus. All right, so what else do we have going on? What else is new in our worlds?
I want to wait real quick before we change subjects, though. I actually do want to tap back into Cofield on that. Do you have, like, I know you said you don't like to get into it on air because it gets touchy, but do you have like a conclusionary statement in what we were just talking about, Steve, with women in sports media?
I think I'll keep it to myself.
He doesn't want to give me a
Okay.
Well,
No,
because
that's good.
I think it'll be mansplaining. So do what you want.
It is what it is. At the end of the day, there are a lot of very, very attractive women that know their shit when it comes to talking about sports. I can listen to Maria Taylor talk sports all day, and I think she's drop dead gorgeous. Do her looks make her better at sports or worse at knowing sports? No, they don't. So it's just it just is what it is, I guess. I've also seen sideline reporter chicks that that I feel have never watched an actual game of football before in their lives. So I just think it goes either way. But I've also seen men that way. So
yeah, I mean, I think it does go either way. I think for us to sit back and make a blanket statement about any of it would be untrue, because I think you see it both ways with both genders, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
What's an interesting thing in radio or like in sports media is the leg up that former athletes sometimes get, either in like a co-host position or as a color commentator. They're always going to get looks a lot of times before. I mean, I just know from my limited experience in sports radio, seeing some of the people hired at stations or the station I worked at, I'm like grinding, bored up, part-time, trying to be a full-time producer, really wanted to get on air. And then you see, a guy who played a couple years in the NFL come in and get a show. You're like, oh man, he didn't really put in the work, but that's just kind of how it goes, I guess.
Well, and he's got knowledge, like firsthand knowledge kind of thing. And
yes.
I'm with you there.
The Howard Cosell named it the Jockocracy.
Say that again.
That's good.
Jockocracy. It's the path for athletes to get into media, and that always bothered him. So it doesn't bother me. I like having athletes on. I like having athletes who care, though. I will tell you, if we have athletes on and we're thinking about them as regulars and they don't try very much or they're not saying anything, then they're gone. So I think that's the most important thing, is that they care. And also, people in media have to be unafraid to give advice to former athletes. Like, this is our realm. We're the experts. Mm-hmm. This is how to do it. This is how you prep. This is probably how you should sound. Here's some examples of other guys and women in the business. And there are former athletes who take to that and do the work. And there are former athletes who don't take to it and think they're just going to get by on their name. And many of them are right. At this point, I'm not sure. I guess it's a bit, but it's getting a little weird with NBA players firing back at Shaq and Barkley, basically calling them casuals. I mean, Chris Wood did it 2 weeks ago. Donovan Mitchell did it. Draymond Green sort of did it to Barkley. But I think it's part of the bit. I don't know. I don't know how that comes off with regular fans when you've got Donovan Mitchell basically telling Shaq you don't follow the sport.
Well, is there any one particular jockocracy guy that bugs you, like, particularly? Like, for me, it's Tony Romo, and I'm cool with Tony Romo, like, as a person or making a commercial or as a cameo, but for some reason he just bugs me when he's in the announcer booth. I don't know what it is about him. Do you guys have that guy that, like, I just rather you stayed in your sport? I don't want to listen to you talk about sports.
Chat room, who bothers you? Because it's pretty clear they're not following their own sport. And I think Allie was getting at, they also comment on other sports, which annoys me, because if they don't know what they're talking about, they'll wag their finger at the media like, I played the game, and then you'll have Charles Barkley commenting on football like, you play professional football, then pipe down, But in the chat room, who bothers you as an athlete who you feel like is kind of getting away with not really working hard to get ready?
Quinn loves Tony Romo.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Two comments for related to the chat. One is, I agree with Brady. I think Reggie Miller is not good at his job. Like, I've seen him forget names of key players in big games. I get that people like his shtick and he's like fun loving and whatever, but I just listen to him and I'm like, man, this is true with a lot of national crews. I have NBA League Pass because I like listening to the local teams, home and away, depending on what game I'm watching. And I listen to the national crews on ESPN and TNT. And I'm just left with like, okay, you guys came in with these talking points. You knew you were going to touch on this, and you're not giving me anything. Like, you're not giving me any insight. And so I agree about Reggie Miller. And I just think a lot of national crews on NBA broadcasts, they just don't, they're not making the game or the experience better for me.
Right. It's like, just happy to be here. Do you have one, Cofield?
Yeah, I've got tons of them who I don't think study very much before. I mean, I've got many. I think what's happened is there's so many more athletes who have work ethic, and they've actually, some TV and radio people have gotten through to them, and they're really good. Like, they're next level. I think Romo is next level. I think Chris Collinsworth is awesome. I know he studies. I think their production team behind the scenes is awesome with Collinsworth. I've never thought Phil Simms is anything but basically low-hanging fruit. Aikman, I think Aikman is okay, but I was trying to watch over the weekend because we were dogging Aikman last week for his arrogance, as a former player, especially going back to when he was ripping on Pat Mahomes for not having as many rings as Aikman does. And it's like, Troy, come on. You played on one of the greatest teams all time. You're surrounded by all Hall of Famers. Patrick Mahomes is so much better than you are already. Don't be all jealous and, bitter old athlete. But I was trying to listen to Aikman during the game, and like, there are times when he really does come across with like some really good football nuggets, but there's also times Buck will say something to him and he just basically repeats what Buck says. Mm-hmm. Like, no, he's the play-by-play guy. Don't just repeat what he said. Give us something, Troy. Come on. But yeah, there's so many athletes that ESPN's rolling out, new guys. A guy that I think he's already making waves because he's annoying the shit out of people, but I think there's a lot of thought behind what he's doing. I actually think Dan Orlovsky's good. I like Marcus Spears a lot because Marcus Spears brings a player's perspective, and he'll call bullshit on Stephen A, and no one does that to Stephen A. So I think there's a whole crop of athletes who are just really good. There's good guys in radio, but again, it's knowing what you're supposed to do. It's prepping. It's listening. It's watching others. You got to study others, the good guys. Any of us should be doing that. If there's a great podcaster out there, we should all be watching their podcasts and see how they run it. I mean, as soon as you're like, I already know all, everything about my business, like, they don't. And if you did, it's still going to grow and move beyond you. So the biggest thing with athletes is like, don't come in cocky and think that resting on your name, because that happens all the time. I can tell you it happens all the time in radio. Dudes are brought in. They have a name. We are rated, right? So after a while, if you don't get ratings, and it's also not a visual medium, people don't even know who you are when you're on the radio. So after a while, your name, it fades in 3 or 6 months, and it's like, this guy ain't saying anything.
Yeah, I think to answer, and I get the jockocracy thing, because I do think from a color commentator in whatever sport, you do want, it's very rare that you'd have someone who didn't play the game. There are very few people I want to listen to as an analyst, just because of the amount of film, like the amount of film that you've watched as a former player in whatever sport, and that inside knowledge, you almost can't replicate that. It's very rare. If you could, maybe a coach, right? A coach could. I guess that's still jockocracy. So for color commentator, the jockocracy is built for that. But I think TV and radio, and maybe radio especially, and maybe local radio or local TV, that's where you get a lot of guys who are, and like I said, my experience in sports radio is limited, especially like compared to you, Cofield. But previously at places I worked, there were people who came in because they were a former athlete, and I just saw day in, day out them not putting in work and it translating. So yeah,
like the guy you did the morning show with in Portland, that was who? Cam Cleveland?
Yeah.
Did he work?
I feel like I'll keep this one to myself.
All right, so that would say I want to keep working in the business, and maybe he wasn't the hardest worker. That's fine. That's fine. It happens. I do think there are really good guys on the way, and I think they're going to work. I do believe Drew Brees is going to have some pride in doing it. I think Phillip Rivers can be really good. I don't know how he's going to, and this is not a joke, I don't know that he's going to do it right away, because these analyst roles actually take some time, and he's got, 9 or 10 kids, so I think I'd want to get my kids a little bit older before I was traveling all the time. And who else? Someone just mentioned another name. Oh, Jay Cutler's kind of interesting, because he's such a kind of a mopey character. Like, is he going to liven up for broadcast? Maybe. But I think right now everyone's looking for the next Romo, and it's not going to be as easy to find as they think. Romo's kind of one of a kind in terms of processing what's on the field and then being able to relay it instantly. And that's a special skill, because like a Phil Simms can't do it. So he never has been able to do it. And yet the flip side of it is maybe Romo's talking is he over all of our heads? Like, is that why Allie doesn't view it that way? But is it just too much with the predictions on the plays and the enthusiasm? Is the bit getting old?
It's not, like I said, I don't mind him as a guy. I just saw some bit with him and James Corbin on like a late night show, and it was funny and quirky and homoerotic, but like, it's not him that bugs me. It's just something about listening to him talk. So maybe, you guys know I'm not a huge football fan, and so maybe that one is just me, but it's like the tone of his voice. Something just bugs me about him. I don't know.
All right, I'll react to this one.
Well played, Brady. I like that.
Which one?
Romo erotic, because I said it was homoerotic. He said it's Romo erotic. Well done, sir. Yeah, I could never stand John Madden too. I think that's a big reason why I don't like football, is because like my early memories of football were John Madden and like that. It was just it was mansplaining. It's like, when you get the ball into the end zone, that's a touchdown. And like, it was that kind of shit. Like, shut up with this. Like, you're going to need to score some points if you want to win the game. Like, the fuck are you talking about, dude? But I know guys worship Madden. So, I mean, like, I don't want to step on Madden toes, but that guy always bugged me. I love Dick Vitale. He's my man. but I know a ton of people hate Dick Vitale, so I get that too.
Now I'm going to sound like biased guy who like loves the medium of radio, but I'll just take a local play-by-play radio announcer over any national guy almost any day of the week.
Who's this? Amber Dixon.
What are you doing here, Cofield?
Yeah, what's going on? Do I need to Google? I feel like I should know who that is. NBC Las Vegas. What's going on? Sports anchor. Oh, okay. I don't know. Oh, wait. Yes, I do know her. The local sports chick. Okay. Yes. Now I've put it all together. Okay. I don't have anything to say about her, though. I don't like follow her. I'm sure she's fantastic. Nothing bad to say. All right. So what's next? Are we good with this? I feel like we're good with this.
I'm good. I actually got one. I got one. I want to put a bow on it. Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite play-by-play or analyst? Who's the in any sport? Like, who's the one voice that you're like, yeah, this is my guy?
I'm gonna pick Dick instead of a dick pick. Dick Vitale. He's
Big Dick.
My first one ingrained in my memory from the Duke UNC games. Like, I got to take Dick here. What about you, Cofield?
I like Kevin Harlan for play-by-play. I think he's awesome. He's got good energy. He's a pro. And I mentioned Collinsworth already. I think Collinsworth is really good. I have dozens of of analysts that I like watching, and you learn something about the game. There's a lot of good young college basketball analysts, so it's getting pretty good. Getting pretty good out there.
Yeah, I go Harlan because he does radio and TV, and on both he's amazing. And then Gus Johnson. I love Gus Johnson for hoops and for college football. College hoops and college football. I love Gus Johnson. He's my guy.
Johnson is. But I'll look him up. I will find out.
I haven't got a chance to hear Cofield though yet. I need to tune into some Running Rebels hoops broadcasts. I'm serious.
I'm being chastised by the people on the TV side for not talking enough. So next year if I get a chance to do some TV, I'll have to speak a little bit more. So it's a tricky game. You don't want to talk over the play-by-play guys. So, and we were a new combination. Myself and Matt Neverett. So I didn't want to go crazy on him.
Oh, you're doing
guy, right? He's like kind of a younger kid.
Like, yeah. I worked with his dad. late 90s, early 2000s, Tim's he used to be a local radio guy here, and since then he's done the Pirates, the Red Sox, and now the Dodgers. So Matt's very good. He's very good.
No, yeah, I like him. That's what I was going to say. That younger kid does a really good job. He really does.
Cofield, you're doing radio color commentary?
I do radio sidelines for the games, and then they did any local basketball, any local UNLV game they didn't pick up nationally on CBS Sportsnet or FS1. They filled with local Cox TV, Your View, Channel 14 and 1014. So I was the color voice. So I was the rare non-6'5" athlete calling a basketball game. So that's the other thing. I try not to overextend. I'm not going to act like I'm a player. So I just kind of comment on what I'm seeing, try to have a lot of background on the guys, in-game stats. I will tell you the weird thing of doing any of this year, and this is not to complain because I have a job and I'm lucky to have some side gigs too. But all those stories you get to tell, like you're doing play-by-play for high school kids. If you get to talk to the kids, that adds to the broadcast because then you have personal stories. Like with COVID, they're like, get the fuck away. You can't just walk up and have a 5-minute conversation with anyone. It was funny the other day in the tunnel. I was walking in, and TJ Altenberger, the coach of UNLV, was walking out, and he was like, "Hey, what's going on?" Because I haven't seen the guy, at all, like up close within, speaking distance. And the whole time I was talking to him, I'm like, I got to get away. Like, I don't want to get him sick. And then I was like, oh shit, he already got sick. And then I asked a couple of stupid questions about COVID and how he did, and I was like, I'm out of here. It's just, it's weird because UNLV football, we didn't get to talk to. I mean, Willie Ramirez is on here, so Willie's expressed his frustration. It's a weird time to be in media because much of what you do on radio and especially writing, you tell stories. Well, you don't have the access to people like you've had in normal years. So boo-hoo, but it is that is a new challenge with the job this year.
Yeah, indeed. I didn't even think of it that way, but yeah, I'm not a play-by-player, so I hadn't really thought about it.
Yeah, with the club football games that I'm calling, they're a little COVID lax on the regulations, and so they do just send kids over to us post game, and we just hand them a third mic that's like plugged into our mixing board, and we do post game stuff with them. It's they're not being as strict out there with the COVID stuff, which is great to get to talk to the kids because this is cool for them. They thought they weren't going to get a season, and then they're catching game-winning touchdowns and getting on these little digital radio broadcasts. They're pretty pumped.
Rock and roll. I still don't know how I feel about club sports, but I gotta get something. I gotta get that kid doing something. I watch games on mute. I absolutely do. I do side by sides, so I'm watching two at once, and then I'm listening to something on my phone and doing stats. So I feel you on that. Yeah. No need to listen to everything they say. Cofield, did you really do play-by-play for Rutgers, or was he just taking a piss out of you?
No. I did that in college. We had a good college radio station, so we used to get to travel to do men's home and away, men's and women's basketball, football. I called a national championship soccer game. UCLA with Rutgers, believe it or not. That was cool. Did baseball play-by-play. Now that's a good place because the kids actually get to do the play-by-play. I still have tapes. I wouldn't be able to play one right now. My cassette player's all jacked up, but I sound a little younger. little younger. So it wasn't, when I listened back, it wasn't too bad.
Aw, that's darling.
Well, people mock on me as a hoarder. I keep all my stuff. I literally have stuff back from freaking 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 30 years ago. I'm not 60. Oh, it is 30 years ago. Shit. No, I said 40. It is 30 years ago. Yeah.
You're getting up there, man.
I know.
Hey, Cofield.
Yes.
I've been, this is very stereotypical guy who moves to LA, but I've been taking some acting classes.
Let's do it. Here we go. Barry 2. Barry, you saw the show Barry, right, on HBO? Did you see it?
You're literally the second person to recommend it today. You're the second person today. But my teacher, my acting instructor, used to teach at Rutgers. He used to teach theater or acting at Rutgers University. And I was like, okay, you know what? I trust Rutgers people. I feel like they're common. I feel like I feel a connection because of you, Cofield. So, and he's a good guy. So I just, go Big Red. What do you guys say? What's the Rutgers like? Those Scarlet Knights. What do you guys say out there?
It's the Scarlet Knights. And then
Scarlet
the cheesiest cheer they have at the games is just simply on opposite sides of the arena or stadium, just going R U R U. That's it.
See, that's why Rutgers is like kindred spirits to Oregon State. I feel like Rutgers is the regional, because at Oregon State games we just have O-S.
Yep.
U.
Well, I mean, everyone kind of does it. Like UNLV does. They have cheerleaders come out and they have the U, the N, the L, and the V. But when it's just two letters and like that's like, that was like your cheer to get everyone fired up. You're like, there's not a whole lot here. Come on.
Yeah, let's go. That's great. I love that.
So silly.
Okay, so we're skipping over the most interesting part of this segment, which is Alex going to acting school. So Alex, do tell, where have you started off, learned so far going on in acting school? What's 101, day one?
Well, it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. And then it was just like, I moved up here and it seemed like, okay, this is, if you're going to do it, fucking let's do it now. It's a new year. Just moved to LA. Like, let's sign up. And it's really hard. It's really challenging because there's 12 of us. It's 12 of us. It's over Zoom right now, which is good and bad. It's good and bad. Like, it's best that it's not in person. It's kind of nice to just be able to do it. I do it from like right here. But also being in person would be, to actually interact and feel things would be a lot better. But, also I'm not going to go sit in a room with 12 people. It's Monday and Thursday nights from 7 to 11 p.m. So it's a long class. That would not be COVID safe, but it's awesome. It's really fun. It's like a real challenge. It's hard, it's really hard. So
what do you with? Is it breathing? I was in theater like my whole life. I went to theater under the stars in Houston, which is like a little acting school. So I'm a theater junkie. So I got you. So this excites me. Like, what are you guys doing? Like breathing stuff or articulation? What are you looking for out of the class? Is it like better public speaking? Is it better facial expressions? Or is it just a whole new experience? Or do you want to be an actor because now you're in LA? First step, job at a restaurant.
I've been wanting to dip my toes in the acting waters for a minute, and just see, and I've been doing a lot of writing too. So I think writing some stories and some screenplay type stuff. I've been doing this for a minute, and so I felt like this would be good for that. But the stuff that we're doing, it's an intensive foundational class, and so each class we're getting like a small piece, a slice of a script, and we are, we get it before the class, and then we're doing that. Either each of us taking a turn with the teacher or doing it in pairs, guys and girls pairing up, and then getting feedback. And yeah, it's all new to me. Like, it's all super new. So I don't even know exactly what it is, but it's really fun and it's super hard. It's like super challenging.
Well, that's excellent. We need to be challenged.
Alec,
yeah, it's hard.
Do what?
Could you do it?
Acting class? Oh, yeah.
Acting in general?
Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I was in theater. I was Helen Keller in The Miracle Worker. Okay, that was a big role. I did.
Wait, how do you play Helen Keller?
Yeah, I actually do this weird thing with my eyes. Like, I can pull them in like this. It's totally weird, but like that was part of my deal, and I did a lot of research on her. And
wait, do it again?
No, I don't want to now.
No, that was weird. That was good.
I feel like I would regret
it.
It was just this thing, like I would just channel my blindness. I would pull my on in. I don't know. It was what it was. Okay, but in the spirit of getting to know you better, Alex, I had kind of come up with some questions for you because you and I, we're trying to kick. Oh my God, my reface, stop. We're trying to, find the identity of this podcast. And I realized that the chat knows everything in the world about me, but how much do we know about you? So these questions are open for the chat to answer as well, but maybe we can learn a couple things about Alex. All right, that was kind of my idea here. So one thing that I think is telling about people, it's not who your favorite band is. Who was your parents' favorite band? Like, who did you grow up listening to? And people in the chat, who was your parents' band that you grew up listening to that like means a little something to you, you know?
That's a good question, actually. That's a good, because like that's what you listen to.
Don't do this, Steve, you dick.
Is Steve trying to find the eyeball?
Oh, I will not even come back on the show. You'll see. You'll see. Mine was the Beatles too. Stop it.
My mom was the Beatles, and I actually have all her Beatles records right here at my apartment now. So that's cool. I still listen to those. My mom was the Beatles, and then my dad was Motown, and which that's actually been a huge influence on my music taste. So those, I'm stoked for that. I'm thankful for that. And I'm stoked that my mom had saved all her records and like gave me a record player when I was a kid, which I know now it's like hip to listen to stuff on vinyl, but I've been like having my record collection growing since I was a kid, and I have all my mom's old Beatle records. So.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I've got a lot of vinyl too from my parents. But then moving around, it's so effing heavy to bring all of your records with you. But
I know. Moving
the Bob Dylan album with Rainy Day Women that unfolds, and there's some good stuff out there. Excuse me, on vinyl that I just can't take it with me.
Also, shout out to PK Duck fan for coming over from the 1080 The Fan Days in Portland. That means a lot to me.
That's so cool.
Stoked on that.
We got one. We got one, baby. We got one person. We got one person to follow Alex over from his radio days podcast. We've increased our audience by 63%, actually. So
that's great.
Kind of speaks to our pathetic numbers. So while I mock on you, I will mock on all of us with this podcast.
Beatles and Motown were my parents.
Yeah, it was Beatles all the way for sure. Both of my parents. Okay. Number 2.
Let me ask you a question though, Allie. Okay. Let me flip it back on you. We're talking Beatles.
Mm-hmm.
Which Beatle are you running with? Like you got to pick one of the 4.
Paul, 100%. My dad's a Paul. My dad plays all the Beatles on the guitar. So like I grew up with it that way, and he loved Paul, and so I love Paul. And that's how it goes.
I'm a Paul. I'm also a Paul guy. Yeah. Yeah, which is cool.
Our show. 2 Pauls, no cups. I don't know.
That's so obscure. That's too obscure.
I'll write that down. No, not. Okay. See, thanks, Rick. Boo. I'm helping out the cause here too, guys.
You know what, Allie? Ignore everything I said earlier. Take the bait. Start fighting with them. Make sure they put up better pictures. Let's do it. And by the way, ignore all that stuff I said about female reporters putting up glam shots. Do whatever you want. Do it.
I'm not putting up glam shots. Like I want to wake up in the morning and roll onto I bitch all the time at the handicap. Like I do 3 shows a day for picks and parlays, you know, and my boss will be like, hey, could you be on this much earlier? Blah. I'm like, I have to do a full piece of makeup before. I don't just like sit down with the baseball cap and zip up my hoodie. My mom is insane with Freddie Mercury. My mom was insane with Sting, but not when I was young.
Dude, my mom was all about Sting. All about Sting.
I had a cat named Sting. Crazy about Sting, man. What are you going to do? Was it Sting or the Police, though?
My mom was Sting, not even the Police.
Yeah,
I didn't even find out about the Police till later. I was like, oh, the Police are sick. All I know is about the Sting guy from my mom and all this, like, mom music. Like, I don't know how else to describe it besides, like, music my mom loved.
I heard Sting tell a funny story. I think it was on the Jimmy Fallon show, and it was the song Walking on the Moon. Sting just said that it was the melody that was in his head, and he was walking around the room while that was the melody in his head, but he was saying walking around the room. And he was like, all right, we'll go walking on the moon here. But it wasn't the lyrics, it was the tune of it. I thought that was kind of funny. So yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we're coming from the same musical backgrounds here. All right. So,
by the way, what's going on here? What's going on here? Someone's saying, was there any real tension between you and your host? That dude seems like he might have been really angry at you.
Yes, I'll answer that question. There was real tension.
Wow.
But also there was tension between him and like everyone. And I think we're like, that's just the way things operate. And so we're cool. But yeah, there was definitely like times where there was real tension for sure.
On the air, you could tell?
I don't know. I mean, I guess if he could,
Clearly.
it was definitely, I guess
Unless
if he
you were
could.
Unless you were rolling live video and someone could see you guys during a break, like,
There was shit like that though, but I mean, I don't know. I just feel like in some regards that's probably inevitable, right? Like spending every day with someone for time. Producer host tension. Does that Cofield, do you participate in that?
of course, yes. Yeah, I mean, when you do a show together, like Ari and I are together every day.
Yeah.
Like basically 5.5 days a week, talking all the time on text. So of course, yeah. Ari knows, and Ari very rarely gives it back. But no, it's going to happen because the producer has a certain job that's it's going to get on your nerves, and we're hosts are unbearable. So no matter what Ari does, I'm going to complain. So if he doesn't count us down, going to the end of the show, it's like, dude, count us down going, the correct way. Then he does it. I'm like, that's too much. Like, okay, you can't win. Such a dick.
So I think my situation. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think my situation is like that because I do think that relationship is just going to happen between hosts and producers. But I think now if you replay, like if I was Ari and you happen to be like a former NFL guy who just was like wired in this way and would say shit like you never last in an NFL locker room. And I'm like, dude, I'm not even trying to last in an NFL locker room.
Is that what you got?
Yeah, stuff like that. I'm just like, dude, I'm here to produce your show. He's like, you wouldn't last one fucking second in the NFL locker room. I'm like, I'm not trying to last 1 second in there.
Did he ever go after his co-host like that?
Yeah, there was shit like that too.
Really? Dude,
but
I don't. I mean, he's a big guy, so he's like 6'6", and I don't know what he's now, right?
Yeah, dude. And this is now. It sounds like I'm sitting here like shitting on him because he'd also invite me over to his house to like pump iron and like we'd like do high school games together.
So you guys almost had like it was almost like a sort of a brotherly relationship. Yeah. I love that though. The 6'6" guy trying to like physically go at people. I don't know what I would do in that case. I think the biggest guy I ever did a show with, but he was a complete teddy bear, was a guy named Pete Metzelaars who played for the Bills years ago, and he was like 6'8". He played at like 270. He was probably down to like 250. But I mean, I did a show with him probably 15 years after he played, and like he was really jovial. But that's kind of fascinating because there's a guy, Ron Wolfley in Arizona, and he and I cannot remember the guy's last name. Doug and Wolf is the name of the show. And I don't know, the guy Doug annoyed Wolfley, and he's got one of these voices where he's like, all right, brother. Like he's like Hulk Hogan. I don't know. He's like it's some sort of deep voice Shrek type. But he was like, let's go outside right now. And you're like, what the like Wolf, you're 6'4" and like 300 pounds. I'm not going outside right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what it was like. It was like basically Cam thought that like the radio booth was still like an NFL locker room, and he'd like snap and have a temper, and then we'd be like, hey dude, it's not like that. Like, we're cool.
That's awesome though. You would never make it in a locker room. Yeah, I'm 140 pounds lighter than you. Like what
yeah, exactly. And he's just and he would get all fucking pissed, and then I'd be like, and me and Dusty, the other coach, would be like, man, like it's cool. Like, we're cool. You want to talk this out? Like, it's all good. Even if you get pissed and like go at, snap, we'd be like, hey man, like, let's just talk this out. And I did shit that would piss him off. Like I didn't do myself any favors half the time. Right. And like our show was the morning show. And I remember there was like, I was like 22, 23, or like 23 at the time. And I was late one morning because I gone out drinking, and he was like, I'm going to fucking kill you. You're jeopardizing our show. And so it was like, and I was like, oh, and he was like, you're a fucking alcoholic. And I was like, wow. Dude, I'm sorry. Like, I even asked, I was like, can I produce a different day part? Like, I'm like this, I lived with like 4 other people at the time, fresh out of college. I was like, this is going to be really hard for me. And they're like, no, stick on the show. So I was like, okay. And anyway, I deserved some of the shit I got, but it was like, yes, there was real tension, but then we would like, he'd invite me over to his house, and we'd like, he had like a gym in his backyard, and we'd like do power cleans, and then we'd go and announce high school football games. So like, it's all good. Like he just left the station.
Oh, he did?
He just left. Yeah. He just chose not to renew his contract, I believe. He said, peace out,
Good.
PDX. He didn't get fired. He just left. I think he's going to go do something else. But
wait, next time I reach out to him for a guest spot, I don't want to hear any fucking excuses about work. All right, come on, let's go, Cam.
But the point saying, I texted him and I was, we were just like, hey man, like that was a fun run. Blah blah blah. Like everything's good. But yeah, to answer PKD fan,
there was some tension.
There was definitely some tension. There were threats. There was like him saying crazy shit to me that I won't even say all of it here. But yeah, there was real tension, to answer that question.
Yeah, so PKD fan says this is great, kind of a peek behind the curtain. Allie, have you had to yell at, scream at any of your partners doing the videos for Picks and Parlays? Any tension where you're like you had to snap off on someone or they snapped on you?
No.
Oh, it's coming.
Yeah, well, I don't know. My big issue was that I had was, remember when I was Cliffhanger Alley and I used to freeze all the time and all that stuff. I don't know, because I had internet for 2 days, so I might have been doing that all night tonight. But I kept trying to tell them, my computer does not have the processing speed. And he's like, upgrade the internet, get this. It was like everything he would go around besides maybe it's the computer. And like I was right the whole time, but it just was like I was never going to be right. He had to get there. He's like, maybe it's the computer. And I'm like, oh, maybe, I don't know, we should try it, but that was my tension in my job. But no, I mean, we really do all kind of like each other at Picks and Parlays. So I don't know, at least for now, but together for like 25 years. So mansplaining is bad. Computer-splaining, I don't know how you say it, but computer-splaining is worse. You're having computer issues and someone's like, do this, do that. You're like, fuck. It's not working.
I don't know how to do that.
Speed. I know the answer.
Right.
On the flip side of that, it's super funny when someone who's like an older generation person's having a computer issue and it's so easy to explain and you feel like a genius. Like my dad was like, I can't get my fucking email to be on my laptop and it was on my desktop. And I was like, you can't get your okay, so the email is not like a program. Like we're gonna log into the email. And he's like, what do you mean log in? And I was like, give me your Outlook password. He's like, okay. He was like pissed. He was like cussing. He was like, this is I gotta go to fucking Geek Squad on a Saturday. And I was like, no, give me this was like this summer. And I was like, give me your Outlook login. And he's like, and he just I could just tell he was so fired up.
Fighting it the whole time. Like, I'm trying to help you.
Your mom doesn't want me to go to the fucking Geek. I was like, just give me the login. I log in on the Outlook. I'm like, give it some time. Like 30 minutes later, everything loads. He's like, oh, this is amazing. This is amazing. Like he was like happy as a clam, sending emails all afternoon. He was just he was like, thank you for that. Like you saved me a trip to Best Buy. I was like, I can't believe you're going to go to Best Buy Geek Squad appointment to get your email to work. And so I'm like, so now he always hits me up for like IT stuff, but it's always stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, here's what you do. You plug the HDMI cord in. He's like, oh, thank you so much. It's so great.
There was a clip on some show. I don't know what show it is because I don't watch it, but it was on the commercial and it kept ringing in my mom's head. And like the girl's like, yeah, mom, I sent you an email. And the mom's like, did you send it to my computer email or my phone email?
Yes, dude. Yes.
Not going to explain the internet to you again. And like, that was me and my mom 100%. Like, we're not going to do this again, Sherry. Like, here's how the computer works. We're done.
My dad was like, I can't get, I literally had to explain the internet. I'm like, so there's a network, right? Like data. But then I was like, I don't actually know how the internet really works when I really, I don't know. There's stuff out there and now it's here. It's on a cloud somewhere. Like just
like satellite stuff. Yeah. It's like a satellite. Things ping, Dad. They ping.
They ping and that it's on a cloud and now it's here.
Yeah. It's magic.
But it's great. It's great because then I feel like, oh shit, I'm an IT genius out here, like it's so great. But then I have like real tech issues, like where I couldn't get Wi-Fi for like 3 weeks and AndrewF.exe here in the chat had to walk me through it like in the most elementary way on Twitter.
You owe him a beer.
This is a tremendous comment. Ari, assuming that everyone in the building is like somewhat computer illiterate and living in 2021, Yeah, my favorite thing at Lotus is the email quote. All right, yeah, in the email, if you get a random suspicious-looking email, don't open. But you know why our tech guy does that? Because we do have a lot of, and I don't want to be an ageist, but we have a lot of older folks who are probably like, oh, okay, let me open the. Oh shit, the whole computer goes down, and I'm sure he's dealt with that. Our tech guy's dealt with that so many times. Like, why the fuck did you open like a weird email from someone you know that like clearly there's something strange in the title? Just delete it. So
that shit cracks me up, man.
sometimes you got to play to some of the older people. Apparently, Ari's not buying it. I'm now working him, and we've got tension. So I will say tension on our show. It's not hidden very well. So Brady was asking if I have tension with anyone. It comes out on the air. So if I'm annoyed at him, like today during the Big Five, I guess I set it up poorly, but I was just I was trying to pay a compliment to the Utah State coach last night. After the game, Craig Smith, he lost to UNLV, and I was sitting there watching him do his radio interview with the Utah State radio guy, and I was like, God damn, this guy is like, he is reeling off like everything that happened in the game. This is freaking brilliant stuff. So I lay that out there to Adam, and he's like, well, he did probably just get the stat sheet. And I was like, all right, fuck you. We're moving on. I didn't say fuck you, but I was like, move on. Like, God damn, dude. Like, can you just say something nice about him so I can go to one more point? But he was like, well, he probably, like, basically was like, he doesn't sound that smart. I'm like, all right, well, I was watching it. I guess I'm wrong. I don't know. So
was that an Adam Hill impression?
What's that?
Was that an Adam Hill impression?
It's not an Adam Hill impression. Basically, anytime you're annoyed with someone, they just become kind of a dorky guy with like that's. Just
that sounded like Adam Hill. I actually.
No, I can't. I can't do. I can't. Is this a thing? We have healthy tension.
Let me work on my Adam. I feel like I could pull that voice out.
Right.
Work on my Adam.
Was it good? I don't even notice. Okay.
I feel you about the emails though, because now my kid, he had messed up his old phone, and then I got him a new one for Christmas, and so now he's got a phone, and he gets those emails where it's like, "Mom, we just won a $25,000 card," and I'm like, "No, don't click that," kind of thing. So I like had to read something about my family, and my parental controls was jacked, and so I had to go back in. But yeah, I mean, you know, old people and kids too. We're millionaires every other day. Yeah,
that's
I will.
awesome.
I'm tough that way. It's tough. I love them.
Allie, I ruined your flow on questions for Crawford.
The whole point is to have some conversation starters, and that started conversation. Okay.
Oh no! You know what? I am going to cut you off again here because I had a moment on the air today. I was setting up sort of a joke about having lots of kids. I don't. But the Jets coach, Robert Saleh, does. He's got 7. He's got 6 and a 7th on the way. So I was just throwing it out. I said earlier in the show, I'm like, if I had 7 kids, I don't think I could remember all their names like that, right? So we have Q Myers on, who's on the Raider station, and I was going to ask Q the question, and then I was like, hey, Q, how many kids do you have? And I was like, I don't really talk to him that way, so I knew he had some kids, but I'm like, oh, he probably has 2. And then he's like, I've got 6 kids. And I was like, oh, my God. I was like, oh no, that kind of ruined the entire moment. So I felt like I sort of embarrassed Q and put him in a bad spot. So, oops.
Fair enough.
It's not a bad. I don't want anyone to think it's a bad thing to have 6 or 7 or 10 kids. You do whatever you want. It's fine.
No, man. One child policy.
Yeah.
You need to adopt a Chinese system.
The only time I support a one and done is when
I'll tell you what, if I got to procreate with like the hottest chick, cheerleader in high school and just had that one kid, I'd be done. Right, Allie? Wouldn't that be the case?
Done, and I got the genes, I got the good looks, athletic genetics, I got it all wrapped up. Thanks for the deposit.
I just think it's so impressive. The high school quarterback. It's just very impressive.
Well, I was 30. I mean, like
even more impressive.
I just turned 30. I need to but I wasn't the high school quarterback, so I gotta rewrite this story.
No. You're on the opposite side. Go get your yearbook right now.
Cheerleader. You gotta knock cheerleader. That's how it works.
Go get your yearbook right now and pick out the stud female athlete to shtup or the cheerleader or a teacher or whatever.
Up by now. Like at 30, that chick had 3 kids and a husband by now.
I know a lot. a lot of them have been locked down. But we did have, at my high school, we had world-class volleyball and water polo. So if I can go find one of those, that could be a move. Believe it or not, I don't have my high school yearbook handy. I'm actually surprised by that. But
I was joking.
It would be
well,
really weird if you did.
Hold on.
Let me-
Hold it out.
Let's dig right in, guys.
Yeah.
well, what's embarrassing about that is I was in charge of my 10-year high school reunion, which was in 2019. So it was, I guess, just a little bit over a year ago. We had it in December 2019, so right before COVID. And I had my friends help out. And one of my friends, this is super nerdy or just dorky, but one of my friends made a PDF version of our senior yearbook for people to have that they could then do the word search on. Made a searchable, text searchable.
Sure, yeah.
That's someone with 7 kids right there who did that.
But now I'm like, I kind of wish I had that handy because I could just look some names up.
That was a good line. Actually, the seven kid line was a good one. Like I need to look at other people other than the people in this family. Let me come up with a quickie way to look through my old yearbook.
That's funny that you say that you were on the committee because Kid's dad was on the committee for our 25-year reunion a couple of years ago. And because we don't get along so well, he texted me to let me know that I was not going to get an invite. I'm like, you can't.
Wow.
First of all, I'm not going to go anyway. And second of all, who the fuck are you? You don't have that power, you dipshit.
You can't invite me. I'm not going.
Fine then. Go hang out with everyone you hang out with every day anyway for the last 25 years. Who cares? It was what it was. I was not a homecoming queen. No, I did a bunch of acid on homecoming. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you exactly what I did on homecoming.
That sounds like the Allie we know and love.
Alex, you got anyone for Brady's question?
You go. I got to think about it.
My most famous high school alumni, the correct answer would probably be like Misty May or April Ross, Aaron Pearsall, maybe one of those Olympians. But in pop culture, Steve Aoki would probably be the.
Jesus Christ, you got a good list.
We've got a strong list.
Wait, what high school was it?
Newport Harbor High School.
Newport Harbor High School. Hello, everyone.
High School.
We
got a strong list.
That's cool. January Jones was. I don't know anyone. Okay, I got one. Local Las Vegas channel, Fox 5 weather guy, Sam Argier. I directed him in school plays in high school. I got that going on. I don't know. I feel like there's someone more. Well, it'd be a baseball player, like I was saying last week, like a Nick Day or a Chad Hermanson or a Brandon Mattingly or like one of those guys, I think would be it. John, you're a raver? Go on. KC Chief 3 asked, did I play Powder Puff? I have a funny story about this, actually. It was the 7th grade, 8th grade in Texas. We went to middle school. I know other states are different, but I had started a petition to allow girls to play on the boys' football team for middle school. So I get this whole freaking petition filled out, signed, all these people sign it. I bring it to the school board. It gets passed. Girls are allowed to play on our middle school, high school football team, and my mother won't let me play. She's like, and her reason is because I'll get hit in the boob and get breast cancer.
That is the boob.
Yeah, because you'll get hit in the boob and you'll get breast cancer. And so I went through all of that, and I never got to play football. It was what it was. There was one girl that did. I forget her name, but she was very, very good. But we couldn't play in high school. It was just a middle school thing.
By the way, this is a pretty good list here.
Solid.
Howard Davis, Shanti, and John Edward. Alex, you also left out from your high school best alums ever. One is Ted McGinley, who played Stan in Revenge of the Nerds. I fucking hate that guy. I'm kidding. He came and spoke on Happy Days.
He came and spoke to my first grade class when I was in first grade. Well, we had no idea who he was. Like, this is a famous actor, but it was like, I was 7 years old. I was like, who is this guy? He like signed a little scrap of paper. I remember because he had my same first grade teacher. But now I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Allie, look up Stan from Revenge of the Nerds. And Ted McGinley was on Happy Days too.
Wasn't Ted McGinley from
Married with Children?
Jefferson on Married with Children. Yeah, that's where I was at. Was Jefferson for Married with Children?
Yep. Another one from his high school. You went to the same school as Jim the Anvil Neidhart, the WWE wrestler. That's kind of cool.
Oh,
that's before your time.
I actually didn't know that because so I do some work with our high school's alumni association. They actually have like a Hall of Fame at our high school, but he's not in it. I should work on getting him inducted. That seems like a guy that should be in there.
Misty May is very impressive, but you also had Steve Timmons.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Olympic volleyball player. And the single most famous person when you roll in the internet who went to your high school, you didn't name her.
Who
was an internet sensation probably 12 years ago. I think she's still going out with a PGA player.
Oh, Allison Stockey.
Yep, Allison Stokey, who went viral for basically just pictures of her pole vaulting and her, insane. Well, I'm not going to talk about her body. She was like 17, 18, 19 years old.
She was there when I was there.
Oh, you really?
Yeah, she was super hot. She was super. I did track, so I'd see her pole vault every day.
We're the same age.
No, she's a couple years older. She's still dating Ricky Fowler, I'm pretty sure. If they might even be engaged.
How about that score? Good for her. Good for him too. She's a very attractive lady.
She's super attractive. Yeah, she's super attractive. I remember when that happened with the pictures. I forgot how big of a deal that was.
Dude, it was massive. Like she would be that picture on all those like weird, clickbait listings all over like every page. Just her holding that freaking holding the pole.
She was like what? Yeah, she was the bringing it full circle clickbait. She was like the clickbait queen of like 2007, 2008, whatever that time was.
So amazing. She went on to Cal to pole vault. I think she had to retire. I don't know anything about her. Okay, let's move on. This is getting embarrassing.
Hey, go Sailors. Go Sailors.
There you go. Wow.
What's your fight cry? Go Sailors. I like dude, I'm sorry. Like in the Navy.
That's actually another I know one of the questions you had planned was what was the first concert I went to? And it actually was the Village People. It was the Village People.
I love that. You get tickets. Yes. And people in the chat, what were your favorite or your first concerts that you ever went to? So how and why did you go see the Village People? I love that.
Wow, look at you. A true Trumper going back like 25 years, 23 years. Unbelievable. The Village People music sent them off, right?
Yeah, but did they're cool with that? The Village People?
They're not at all. They released a statement that day and they're like, please stop. We've asked you so many times. I hope this stops and please stop playing our music.
Stones did too. They were like, oh, no, you're not playing our shit. Tom Petty's people were like, no.
Tom Petty from his grave was like, stop.
Yeah.
I'll last to marry Jane your ass right now. Freaking play my stuff at a Trump thing. Oh, that's a good one.
That's a really good one.
This is better.
Ooh,
that's really good.
Set you up. Oh, I loved Color Me Bad. I thought they were so cool. My first one was Simply Red. They played at the Astrodome, and my stepmom took me there. Simply Red.
Yeah, like mine was also the Village. When I was like in third grade, YMCA and like Macho Man were like the only music. Like I had a Village People CD that I got from the like. What was that thing that came in the mail where you ordered a bunch of CDs for like 1 cent each? It was like the Columbia House thing.
Collection. Yep. Oh yeah.
I remember I convinced my parents to let me get that. And remember like one of the only bands I knew was the Village People. And then I saw they were coming to the Orange County Fair and I was like, Dad, we got to go. So my dad took me to see the Village People. And I think the other people at the concert, like, yeah. It was just, good for my dad to have the patience to take me to a Village People concert when I was in third grade. And I didn't know that they were like a huge, they were a big like LGBT band and like huge in the gay community. And I remember just like being like, this is cool. And yeah, I was in third grade. I didn't know. But the woman next to me was like, you like these guys? I was like, they're my dad's favorite band. And I was like, oh, everyone thought my dad was just like a gay father taking his son. What'd you say?
They're my other dad's favorite band too.
Exactly. Everyone in our section thought I had a gay father who was like taking his son to see the Village People, which is awesome. Yeah.
I will say that my second concert was Paul McCartney, and it was the New World Tour in 1996 at the Astrodome, and it was my dad's birthday, and him and his best friend took we were their daughters. We had been best friends growing up, and freaking, it's 1996, so I'm 16, and Hey Jude comes on as the encore, and we all whip out our lighters, and hey, na, 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 and both of our dads turn around and go, why do you have lighters? Like, busted. Yeah, like busted. Oh. But luckily they were drunk and did not remember it the next day. So it was okay. We just had to give them our lighters. They didn't even ask if we had cigarettes or pot. So that was just good Paul McCartney energy right there. That's what I like to think.
That's a really solid second concert. Like, that's amazing.
It was a good one. I just picked all my nails off and put them into that can. It needed to be done. Okay, so I have other questions. Are you ready for another one?
Yeah, let's go.
You're going to get it anyway. Okay, so same with the chat. I was wondering, what is the first booze that you ever got so drunk on that you're like, I'm never going to freaking drink this again? Like for me, Strawberry Hill, like that stuff, I still can't drink that stuff. Boone's Farm, that's what it is. Like I cannot drink Boone's Farm because there's like a night in high school where I remember throwing up out of my nose, like throwing up so hardcore. It was coming out of my nose, and like I was probably 17 or 18, and I have never drank Boone's Farm since, and I will not. Do you have anything like that? Yeah, Jaeger's a great one.
Yeah, Jaeger's a salt. Jaeger was my first legal drink, but I can still drink it. I like Jaeger to some extent. But have you ever had Burnett's brand vodka? I don't know what region. I mean, I had it when I went up to Oregon State, and I've only ever had it up in the Pacific Northwest. Burnett's brand, but that's just it's in that category of just like the cheap flavored vodka, like the bottom shelf, but the flavored. All the cherry and the this and the that and the watermelon, and it's like, but it's so bad. I just remember in college taking just straight shots of Burnett's, like no chaser or like a shitty chaser or like a lukewarm half-liter of Sprite being passed around. And I remember like not just once, I remember multiple different parties like taking a shot of Burnett's, warm Burnett's, and then immediately puking, going to a corner and puking, or going to a bush. So for me, it's I've never seen it outside of the Pacific Northwest. But Burnett's, I can't ever have. I don't know where they have it outside of there, but I can't fuck with that.
Never again. I like the way you roll, PKD fan. Yeah, I like the way you roll. There's a time and a place for everything. Jaeger seems to be a pretty popular one in the chat. That one's thick, man. That's hard. That's hard stuff. Oh, I have a
Goldschlager
story, but I cannot share it in this forum. That's after hours. That's not happy hour. That's after hours. Okay, so here's one for the chat as well. Who was your first celebrity crush?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Like
that's
mine,
a really tough one.
Bo and Luke Duke on the Dukes of Hazzard, both of them. I'll take them both. Like I thought they were so cute and so cool. Now I realize that they were like racist rebels, and I would never date either one of them. But they're still soups hot. Okay, so those were that was my guys. And I could tell you my first chick that I ever had a crush on was definitely Claudia Schiffer. Like she was the one that made me realize I dig girls. Like she was that girl for me. Like I dig girls. So who made you realize you dig girls?
Man, like this is tough. I'm trying to think way back. I remember like when I was a kid, when the Parent Trap came out with like Lindsay Lohan, I was like, oh dude, like Lindsay Lohan's hella cute. But I remember, but this is what really comes to mind for me is being in high school and like the Beyonce Crazy in Love album cover. I would just like spend a lot of time looking at that. We'll just put it at that. But the Beyonce Crazy in Love album cover, spend a lot of time studying that for sure.
I like it. It's a good choice. She's from Houston. Oh, Paula Abdul, good one. Kathy Ireland, loved her. That was a unnecessary roughness. She sold me.
Oh yeah.
Abdul, I told you I have Paula Abdul issues because I did her in the talent show a bunch of times, but then my boyfriend of all time was Emilio Estevez, and then she married him. So like in 6th grade, that was not flying with me at all. Was not flying.
Also, Denise Richards in Starship Troopers, major babe.
She's always a major babe. She's a Real Housewife now. I still watch her. She's a Real Housewife of OC, I think, or Beverly Hills, one or the other.
She's Beverly Hills.
Yeah, she's a Bev. Do you watch The Housewives?
I've dabbled in the OC one because they live in Newport. So like I like to just, this is corny, like, but it's sometimes I like to just see my hometown on screen. I mean, it's not hard to do, but like just like, oh hey, they're down at the Harbor, but it's hard to watch. My ex-girlfriend really likes the housewife shows, so I would like the trade-off would be like, hey, I fucking hate these shows, but if we watch the OC one, I'm down to just see my people on screen.
Right. Christina Applegate was a great one. That movie, Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. I was thinking about it today because I'm effing over doing dishes. Remember when they're like flinging them out, shooting them? Like, the dishes are done, dude. I swear I felt like doing that today, just throwing every fridge I have into the garbage.
I like this one. This one's really hard to say. I do remember Ivanka Trump. Boy, oh boy. I got to tell you, last
I heard that. I think Ivanka's. Oh no, I'm Ivana, aren't I? I'm the daughter. Who's the daughter?
I said I will not sleep with fascists. All right.
Ivanka is the daughter. I got to tell you, the scene with DJ, TJ, Eric, and Ivanka crying. Holy shit! You didn't see it?
Mm-mm.
You didn't see it?
No.
Oh yeah.
What were they?
Yeah.
They
were crying at Dad leaving. They were crying because Dad was leaving DC.
What did I hear about private pardons? Like, was that a thing? There were private pardons. Like, maybe he pardoned them all and we don't know it. Is that a thing?
Who knows? But yeah, short. Long story short, yeah, Ivanka Trump is not hot. So, sorry. It's over.
I wouldn't kick her out of bed. Just saying.
I'm gonna go with Patricia Arquette now. She's put on some weight. She's a little beefy. Got the giant cans. No, Patricia Arquette.
If we're going to go that route, I would be more on the what's her ass from Natural Born Killers. If I was going to go like a true.
Oh, really?
Really? Those girls, I'd take a Mallory Knox. Yeah.
All right. What about Rosanna? What about Rosanna Arquette?
Rosanna Arquette's just like, she looks like she's so crazy. Like, whatever's going to go down with Rosanna Arquette, it's going to be good.
She got a band to sing a song about her. Because I don't know if you know this. Rosanna, the song by Toto, is about Rosanna Arquette.
I did know that.
The one, if you listen to the words, it was the guy's roommate who was dating Rosanna Arquette. And the one dude was like so crazy over her. He's like, hey, fucking, we got to sing about her.
I've met Jen Tilly several times back in my poker days, and she is super hot. And I had a real hard time getting the Family Guy voice out of my head when I would talk to her. But she's a really, really cool chick.
I
can't pick
one.
Ambers.
Elizabeth Hurley, Austin Powers.
Sure.
Yes.
That was a big one for me in my youth.
Oh, Mila Jo, that's a good one from Fifth Element. She's a hottie for sure.
Yeah, she is pretty good.
All right.
All right, folks. Yeah.
I got
Let's
Okay,
no. You know what? You're going to save it for next week because we're pushing an hour and 40 minutes. So good
Holy-
job. That was fun. John Carvelli is a gigantic fan. Yes, Jim. Of course, Bo Derek.
Love
Bo Derek almost banged out Dave Koken. So that's a story that will last for the ages, at least. Well, she shared a blanket with him. And then we had Bo Derek on Cofield and Company like 6 months ago. What an experience. Oh, what an experience. I wasn't creepy at all. At all. Not at all.
I feel like that's a lie. I feel like that's a lie right there. All right.
John Carvelli, we thank you, John Carvelli.
All right. And then next week, we definitely need to pick a name for the show. Yeah.
Pick. We're coming back next Tuesday with Taco Tuesday. I'm kidding. What do you guys like? What do you like from your list?
I kind of like the AA meeting, honestly.
Wait, will you hold the list up so I can read it?
Read them
Okay,
out. Read them out.
Crushing Tacos, A-Team, Scoregasm, Taco Tuesday, AA meeting, Allie and the Beeve, Sports Tuesday, and Life Splaining.
My two favorites.
Chat.
My two favorites are the Taco Tuesday and AA meeting. Those are my two favorites. Definitely not Sports Tuesday because I already do Sports Tuesday, and I think it's the fucking terrible name. And I'm mad at myself for picking that name, but no, not Sports Tuesday. Fuck that.
Allie and the Beeve. I'm gonna drop that.
AA meeting and Taco Tuesday are my.
Yeah, that's you. I really am. Okay, so you guys next week on Tuesday, think it out. We'll do a vote next week. Taco Tuesday or AA meeting, and that'll be the name of the show. See you next Tuesday.